I've been a generally healthy 1.7 meter 70 kg man until the 3rd of August this year, 2020. I believe the headache I got on that day is worth making a video about. That's how bad it was. The day started the way it always does. In fact, nowadays I do not get up before 5 a.m. every day. Sometimes I actually do get up at 6. I don't remember the exact timing on that particular day, but I believe it was one of those 6 a.m. days. So the drill proceeded as usual. After balancing the fluids in my system, I proceeded to my study room, where I spent a little over an hour doing 1 or 2 things on my computer as I waited for the daily university Zoom meeting we have at 7:30 a.m. At 7:30 I was tuned in as a friend of mine made his presentation belaboring the basic principles and techniques of internal fixation of fractures. I listened in quite attentively, though I must admit occasionally I got distracted with 1 or 2 other things on the computer. But by around 8:15 he was done. At around 8:20 I was in the shower performing the daily ritual. That never takes too long, so by 8:30 I was dressing up. Next was the quick breakfast. Because most of what I take for breakfast was already ready, I quickly served myself some stuff and consumed it. All I need on Mondays is a dust coat, so I threw one into my bag and I was on my way. So Mondays are really not that busy at the section at which I work in the hospital. It's called arthroplasty, that deals with replacing defective joints. We do that kind of human engineering on Tuesday. So on Monday, all I need to do is to prepare the patients for the operations on Tuesday. That preparation basically involves getting all their documents in order, ensuring all their lab tests and imaging is done, and explaining the procedure to them and getting them to sign the consent form so that they are ready for the operation on Tuesday. By about midday I was done and I was ready to get back home, but first I had to pass by somewhere to check out a bit of farming that we've been trying to do. That didn't take long, and by about 1 p.m. I was back home. Of late, that conventional lunch has not really been a thing I do, so I just took a fruit salad and headed back to the office, back to the laptop. I was really feeling quite productive, so I thought, why not? Let me make a video for YouTube, and that's the last video I made. If you guys have not seen it, I'll link it somewhere up here or here, and also in the pinned comment below. Oh, and if you didn't see that video, it's probably because you haven't subscribed or you haven't turned on your notifications. In which case, let me digress a little bit to welcome you to the family. Feel very welcome to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you do not miss any of the videos I have lined up for you every week on digital life and productivity. Okay, let's get back into the story. Now the plan that afternoon was to shoot and edit and upload a video all in one day. Okay, usually it takes at least 2 days to make one video, and sometimes it could even take longer if I need to write a longer script and maybe shoot a lot of extra footage, but this one was just a tutorial style video, so I didn't even need a script. Most of the additional footage was just screen recordings. But still, I needed to set up the lights, camera, microphones, and computer to ensure that everything is just the way I wanted it before I start. That setting up in itself took maybe about an hour, especially considering that I'm a little bit of a stickler for detail. So yeah, I got done with that and I went through the shooting process, which probably took another 45 minutes to an hour. I remember ending up with about 30 minutes of footage, which was not less than 25 GBs. So I quickly jumped onto the editing, and that's where the real work is. I sat on the computer from about 5 p.m. in the evening to 9 p.m. at night. And that's where the headache comes in. You see, my computer is a little bit too weak for this kind of video, so I sometimes have to leave it overnight to render the video. I had already started feeling a distant discomfort from about an hour earlier, but as soon as I pressed the render button, it kinda like detonated on me. I suddenly got this horrible headache starting on the left side of my head. then spreading to the whole forehead and the right side. It was so bad that even wifey got confused. She wasn't sure what to do, especially when I'm both the doctor and the patient in the house. Anyway, at least she gave me some painkillers and straight away I went to bed. It was very difficult to fall asleep, but to cut the long story short, I got up on Tuesday and I was fine. The headache was gone. Now friends, that's just the story part, but the real reason I made this video is to review that day with you guys, to find out why it ended in that tragic headache and to establish what I would have done differently and what you can do differently to make sure you still have a productive day while still avoiding such an ending. First off, to put it into perspective, that headache that I had is what neurologists would call a tension headache. It's related to stress or strain and poor posture, and it comes occasionally in some people. You pop a painkiller and it's gone. Or it could even be chronic, that is, it keeps on coming every now and then. It's probably the most common kind of headache people get. It's not the worst that you could get, but nonetheless, it's avoidable. So after a long day of being up and down within and without the hospital, I quickly descended onto my laptop for a long session of video editing without much of a break. So the main culprits here are eye strain, inadequate rest, and poor posture. Now, where does the eye strain come from? Our eyes generally are at rest when looking at a distance that is a bit further away from the typical distance of a computer screen. So whenever you're focusing on your computer screen, the muscles in your eyes have to work to actually adjust the focus of your eyes to the front of the screen. And it's actually quite straining to them to keep your eyes focused there for extended periods of time. So how do you sort that out? The American Optometric Society endorses a practice called the 20-20-20 rule. Instead of focusing on the laptop screen for the close to 5 hours that I did continuously, I should have tried to stop every 20 minutes to get a 20-second break to look at something 20 feet away. You get it, right? So since then, I have decided that I'll be using my Forest app when editing. It is a great tool for concentration, and it will also remind me to take a break to look away every 25 minutes, which is kinda close to the 20 minutes that are recommended. Next is the posture. I have noticed that I still have unsolved issues here. First, my chair is a bit on the uncomfortable side and maybe too low for the table that I use. The second issue is using a laptop rather than a monitor, which means that I nearly always have to tilt my head a little downward. That is not really good for the spine and muscles in my neck. Now, before I get a new chair, I could add, say, a pillow on this current chair to raise it up a bit and make it a bit more comfortable, but that will tilt my neck even further because the natural advantage of this higher desk is that it raises up my laptop a little bit. So maybe again I'd need to raise the laptop higher somehow. I guess you get the point. At the end, your target should be to sit upright with your back in neutral position and your shoulders relaxed, your arms ideally resting on the arms of your chair and the top of your computer screen at the level of your eye. Now, there's several other measures that I would have thrown in to skip that headache. Maybe a bit more rest between the tasks of the day, maybe a bit more water, I probably should take more than what my bottle accommodates in a day. Maybe a bit better lighting, a bit softer lighting, especially when it gets dark. I notice that sometimes I forget to use that adjustable desk lamp over there. And the list goes on and on. Like caffeine is another culprit for a lot of people, but I rarely take any coffee or tea. So guys, that is it for today. I hope you remain productive and have a healthy digital life. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let's meet in the comment section down below. See you in the next one. For now, let me leave you with this video about this room that has given me a headache, or this playlist down here if you watched that video already. As always, no pressure.